My name's Claire Harrison and I have written a series of children's books all based around this beautiful black cocker spaniel who's called Peggy and her best friend who is a Tibetan terrier and he is called Archie. And together Peggy and Archie form the Do Good Dog Clan. And in the books the Do Good Dog Clan help children in trouble and solve crimes along the way. And this is my first book called Coming Home and I'd like to read this story to you. We travelled for more than an hour or so, my mum, two sisters and I, in search of a little black dog I'd seen in the local paper, though why, she'd given in to the never-ending cries. Please, Mum, we'll walk her and feed her. Mum couldn't deny. Those puppy dog eyes were so cute, next to the West Highland White, the Springer, mad as a hatter, and Heinz 57, not quite right. So here we are in a very hot car. Turn right, turn left, the sat-nav said. What shall we call her? How about Meg? We're just looking, said Mum. Only looking. What am I doing? Think of the cost, the mess, the chewing, the scratching, the biting, the fleas, the pooing. And then we were there. Cocker spaniels surrounded the car and led us barking to a big farmhouse door. Out stepped Mrs. Jennifer Moore. Farmer's wife, through and through, rosy cheeks, A-line skirt, dirty wellies too. Down, dogs, she barked, and they sat, looking at her face, waiting to be told if they were in disgrace. This way, please, the pups are inside. My sisters pushed past and suddenly went quiet. Mrs. Moore lifted her up. One tiny, jet black, shiny pup. Please, my eyes said, and to my surprise, Mum nodded her head. The kitchen was warm from the great big Aga, which stood in the corner next to the larder. 4 dogs curled up, snoozing and twitching as they chased after rabbits, trying harder to catch them, just missing. Cup of tea? Asked Mrs. Moore, as she began to pour. 2 huge mugs, slightly chipped, showing signs of age. And whilst Mum drank tea, with dogs we played, tickling tummies, rubbing noses with a spaniel called Rosie, soft and sweet. What a treat, said Mrs. Moore. Papers signed, money given, and a doggy bag received, full of advice, a certificate and a sample pack of feed. We said goodbye and sat back in the car, the journey home stretching afar, but with one more passenger, snuggled safe in the back, folded tightly on my lap. What shall we call her? All shouting a name. How about Jenny? How about Jane? Jet and Sky and Belle were called, but none quite seemed to fit at all, until Peggy was mentioned, which seemed just right, as I looked at her little head, snuggled in tight. Peggylicious. I kissed her nose and made a fuss, for evermore a part of us. She grew and grew and chewed. Specialities were knickers and shoes, but there was nothing that gave her greater joy than a walk in the park with her favourite toy. It could be a stick, it could be a ball, but the most exciting toy of all was a squeaky Christmas pud. One wet winter walk, Mum threw the pud as far as she could. Off Peggy bounded, tail held high, letting out a little cry, and just when her search was beginning to wilt, up popped a shaggy-haired dog, head on a tilt, tail bobbing, fringe covering his eyes, And what a surprise! Proudly held in his mouth was Peggy's Christmas pud. They rolled and nipped and laughed in the rain, and the Christmas pud became a game. But neither dog knew as they played that day of the adventures that would come their way, the crimes they'd solve, the deeds they'd plan, as the fearless do-good dog clan. And the Christmas pud squeaked. And that's the end of the first story. Thank you for listening. I hope you liked it, and if you did like it, there's another book coming out at the end of October, and it's called Lost in the Woods, and it's all about Peggy and Archie and how they help find some lost children and bring them home safe and sound to their parents. If you'd like to know a little bit more about Peggy and the books, and also about the Peggylicious Kids Club, why don't you take a look at our website, which is www.peggylicious.me. If you become a member of the Kids Club, you get a goodie bag, and in the goodie bag you have a poster of Peggy or Archie and some badges and all sorts of bits and pieces. But also you can join in with our Christmas party and other events that happen throughout the year, and various competitions and all sorts of things that happen every month. So we look forward to seeing you soon, and thanks very much for listening. Bye!